Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2 has just been released, and although we rather liked it, many of our esteemed gaming colleagues saw fit to kick it repeatedly in the shriveled vampiric balls. And it's with this slightly upsetting thought in mind that we're rounding up the top 5 worst video game sequels ever. First up, we've got Prince of Persia Warrior Within, or Prince of Persia Crying in My Bedroom Listening to Pop Punk While Having One Off the Wrist Edition, as I'm calling it now. The Sands of Time. Unfortunately, it sold about 3 copies, so Ubisoft decided to give it a makeover in line with a marketing man's jowly approximation of edgy. This meant splattering the prince in mascara, giving him feelings, and making him a little bit of a penis. Oh look, he's all brooding and gritty because things have happening female characters, and you have a sequel that spectacularly misses the point of the series, instead becoming everything we dreaded a modern reboot would be in the first place. Well done.
Kill him.
The original Perfect Dark was witty, progressive and ambitious, and undeniably one of the best multiplayer games of its era. So what could go wrong with the sequel? Well, I could talk about the famous wall guy from the preview screenshots, who looked a bit like someone had drawn a face on a pair of tights and then filled them with mint. Or I could talk about the fact that Joanna Dark is British in Perfect Dark, but then American in the prequel, a twist that manages to be bilaterally insulting to both nationalities. But I can save us all some time by letting this cheesy baby bell end of a trailer do the talking instead.
It's business as usual. Except this time.
It's personal?
It's personal.
Of course it's personal. It's not so much perfectly dangerous as perfectly shit. Continuing with the theme of zeros equating to added ass-candleness, our third entry is Bomberman Act 0. Now, Bomberman used to be the ultimate co-op multiplayer game, with jolly, fat-headed incendiary types waddling around before blowing each other up. It was never meant to be realistic, because if you make a game about men and bombs and don't make it chunky cartoon fun, then you've basically made a simulator for something deeply sinister. So what we're left with here is all steam and wire and rust and misery, wholly lacking in charm, character and cartoon kangaroos. Bomberman Act 0? More like Bomberman Crapped 0 out of 10. Yeah, let's move on. Question: how do you make a game about brightly coloured Sonic hedgehogs, all grown up and gritty? The answer is you don't, obviously, because that would be mental. And if you did try, you'd end up with this. Shadow the Shithog. No, your eyes haven't gone wrong. That really is a hedgehog with an assault rifle. A hedgehog. A hedgehog. A hedgehog. Why not just make a different game? The end result is a twist to a classic series, so laughably misjudged that it's okay for me to ignore the fact that it's not really a sequel.
I'm Shadow the Hedgehog, the ultimate life form born to rule all.
Not so much rule all, Shadow, as be the same but darker and smelling of toilet. You're the gaming equivalent of a morning poo after a night on the Guinness. And in first place we've got Dragon Age 2. There are technically worse games on this list, but in terms of numbing disappointment, the follow-up to Dragon Age Origins is like headbutting a man with horns. The original had a sweeping story that let you see a solidly fleshed out fantasy world from numerous cultural perspectives, equal in scope to the mighty Mass Effect.
Enchantment?
The sequel, on the other hand, encouraged you to play as off-the-shelf fantasy mannequin Hawk.
A guy with blood on his nose.
Combat was reduced from classic beardy turn-based brutality to frantically pressing X to do exactly the same thing for 60 hours. And did we mention the claustrophobia of Kirkwall, the recycled dungeons and the hub locations with all the charm of park toilets? No, well, we just did. It's a rushed, diluted, utterly disappointing follow-up to a great RPG.
Enchantment!
Good luck, Dragon Age Inquisition. And if you think this list should have had more Duke Nukem Forever, Driver 3 and Resi 6, be sure to let us know. In the meantime, you can click here to see our sexy list feature about our top 5 fantasy gaming couples, or here to see if you agree with our top 5 stupid rules in games. Here's a hint. No, you probably don't.